Welcome back to Simbright Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to sew this beautiful trending pleated skirt. So this is actually a very detailed tutorial on how to go about this pleated skirt using plain fabric. Actually, we have two kinds of these pleated skirt. We have the one you can make homemade, and we also have the one that is already factory made. Okay, so but in this class I'll be teaching you how to sew the homemade type. So this is what I came out with. You can see I made my pleating so small, and I'm going to teach you the tips and tricks to making it so big and making it so small as well. So this is what I came out with. It's actually a short skirt. You can make your own longer, you can make it shorter, but I'm going to teach you how to go about it, either both pleated skirt or small pleated skirt, or longer or shorter. So stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. So to begin this tutorial, we will first of all create our pleatings on paper. So I'm using cardboard papers for it, but the right paper for this tutorial is called the craft paper. So if you can get a craft paper from the printing shop, that would be nice. But I didn't have any craft paper, so I used my cardboard paper. So I have 4 cardboard papers, and I have gone them together as one piece because I need a very large paper to be able to cut out the circle skirt. So I noticed that the 4 papers were not enough. I added 2 more cardboard paper just to make my paper look big. That's just what I'm doing right here, because we are going to cut out our 180 degrees circle on this particular, just a half circle on paper. So if you know you have a longer length, that means you have to put a lot more papers. I use 6 papers, cardboard papers joined together. But if you get the craft paper will be very easy because it comes in large size. So you can get the craft paper from any printing shop. If you're living here in Nigeria, you can get it in a printing shop, okay? But if you cannot get, please, you can make use of cardboard paper. The summary of what we have just said is that the right paper for this project is called a craft paper, and this craft paper is brown in color. You can get it from a printing shop, but if you cannot get the craft paper, you can use a cardboard paper. Just join them together. So I'm working with waist 36, and I divided it by 2 because we are cutting 180 degrees circle flare, which is half a circle. So we are using 3.14 to divide it for our radius because that is constant. So when I divided my waist by 2, I had 18 inches. Then I added 2 inches for seaming the 2 circles and 1 inch for seaming the zip. So I have 20 inches. We are actually cutting 360 degrees pleated skirt right here. So the radius we are going to make use of is 6 inches. That is what I calculated right now by dividing 20 by 3.14. So now I'm going to place this paper I've joined. I'll place it together. When cutting 180 degrees, you know how to cut 180 degrees flare. So you just put your paper together. So I put my paper together, as you can see. I will start to mark out the radius. So on the folded edge right now, I'm going to mark out the radius, and the radius I'm making use of, which I calculated, is 6 inches. So I'm going to mark it from the folded edge. So we are cutting half a circle right now for this paper, which we are going to use to create this pleating. So I will mark 6 inches, as you can see right here, and I'm going to connect my radius. So the radius here is 6 inches. So I'm going to take the length of this skirt. So the length I want to make use of for this paper, I'm making use of 30 inches. So my paper will be longer than the fabric, so I'm using length 30 inches. I'll mark 30 inches, 30 inches. So if you are making a very longer skirt, you can use 41, 45 inches. That means you are going to join a whole lot of your paper, like 8 or 10 of it, if you cannot get the craft paper. So I'm measuring from the point, and there I'm marking from that point to get a full length. So you can mark from the tip, you can mark from the radius, or anyhow you will still get the length of this circle. So I'm connecting the circles as you can see right here. So I'll connect it from one end to the other. Of course, you know how to go about this part. So after connecting, we are going to cut out the radius, and then we are going to also cut out the length. So this is just half a circle which I've created right now. So this half a circle, we are going to start creating our pleats on it, okay? Then we'll also use it for our fabric as well. So I'll open up the paper. You can see the half a circle which we just created right now. So I'm going to take the measurement of that radius, okay? So that is the radius together. I got 20 inches, which we calculated. So when I put it together, that means I'll have 10 inches. So from the down piece of it, I want my pleating opening on the down piece to be 1.5. So this is the time you are going to determine how bold or how small you want your pleating to be. For me, I marked 1.5, 1.5, 1.5 at interval. So if you want it bolder, you can do 2 inches, 2.5, 3 inches at the down part of this paper. So I've marked my 1.5 and I'm going to label them 1, 2, 3, 4 until I got to the end of it. So you just label the sections, and these sections is going to help us on these markings. So just keep watching. You are going to understand what we are doing at the end of the day. So here I have 38 sections. So I'm going to measure what I have here, and I have 10. I'm going to divide it with the 38 sections. When I divide it with the 38 sections, I got 0.25. So I'm going to mark 0.25, 0.25 on the upper radius. You can see the upper radius is smaller than the down parts. So now that means if you make it bolder on the down, when you divide what you have it bolder on top too. I believe you understand. So now I have marked all my 0.25 for 1/4 of an inch on top. So I'm going to connect those points together with a straight line. So the sections on top is smaller than the sections below. So I'll keep marking the top sections, connecting them one after the other. Of course, the sections on top are very small, but when you count them, you still have 38 sections. So I'm going to mark the sections from top to bottom, as you can see me right here doing this. So I'm almost getting to the end of the 38 inches section. So if you use a craft paper is stronger than a cardboard paper. So this section you are making, after making this pleat, you can use it to make so many pleats, okay? So you are going to do this once and for all, and it will be a pattern for you when making your pleats. So now we'll start to pleat them on paper. So this pleating, sometimes children use it as to make fan. If you remember using paper fan, okay, if you have made paper fan when you are younger, this is exactly what we are doing. So it looks like paper fan. I believe you understand what I'm talking about. So to make this pleat easy, you need an edge of a table. So you can see at the edge of the table, just make sure you fold the markings on the edge of the paper, of the table, sorry, because you need to fold in that line. You need to fold in that line. Once you get to the end, you just hold it the way I'm holding it. So you can see I slow down on this part for you to understand it. Next, you are going to kiss it to the next line. You will kiss it to the next line. Next, you come over to the next line, the one that you kissed, and then you also fold it in. So when you are making yours, this is just a pattern, and you make it once and for all. So make sure you use an edge of a table. That is what will help you to have this fold. So you keep using the edge of the table to fold the paper. So after I'm done making each, then I'm going to kiss it to the next line. So this is just a process I'll keep doing like that, like that. Of course, when you start to work on your own pattern, you understand what I'm doing. So this actually takes time anyway. I'm showing you two methods. This is the first method, which is the oven method. So but when we get to the ironing method also takes time anyway. So if you want to make a homemade pleat, you have to pass through this process. So I keep folding this like that. So I just felt like showing what I'm doing from beginning to the end, so you see how I went about making this pleat. So I'm gradually coming to the end of creating this pleated pattern on paper, which we are going to use to bake our pleating. So I kept doing that using the edge of my paper like that until I got to the end of it. So I'm still on the process. Just be patient, keep watching. You are going to see how this is transformed. So I will keep using the edge of my paper like that. Make sure you use the edge on the lines. So I've gradually come to the end of it. I kept kissing it, and this is the end of it right now. So I start to put them together. Like I earlier said, if you remember the pepper fan children usually make when they make pepper fan, this is exactly what we are making right here. So you now put them together like a pepper fan like that. Of course, after creating those edges, you keep putting them together like this and like that. So this is it. So when I put it together, I make sure I have the edges the way I want. So after making sure that the edges are well created, then we'll start to make use of it for this project. So now this is what I got. You can see we already have the pleats on paper. So we are going to use what we have right here. When you open it, we'll place our fabric under it. So that is the idea. So we are going to place the fabric under it. But before we do that, we are going to cut the fabric on circles. So I'm using only 2 yards, okay? If you want to make it longer, use 4 yards. So I'm using 2 yards, and these 2 yards, I'm going to put it together to have 1 yard. So this 1 yard, I'm going to cut the 1 yard right away. So I'll go ahead and separate them into 1 yard. So after separating it, I'm going to put the length of that 1 yard. The length of this fabric, the fabric I'm using is crepe anyway, but the best fabric for this project is silk. So from our calculations we had before, 6 inches was the radius. So I've already placed my fabric to cut 180 degrees. So the longer length, I folded it into 2. This fabric comes at 60 inches. So I'm going to mark the 6 inches that we calculated just to cut half a circle. Okay, so what I'm cutting here is half a circle. So for each of it, I'm going to cut half a circle, and the other one I'll also cut half a circle. So I'm going to take the length of this, whatever I have remaining, that was what I used, and I have 25 inches and I used it. So if you want it longer, that means you need enough fabric to make a longer length of 180 degrees. So I'm going to mark the 25 inches all around, as you can see. So I'll keep marking 25 inches from that point until I get to the end of the folded edge of this fabric. So this is only 1 yard. I'm using this 1 yard alone to cut my 180 degrees flace. So I've already cut it and I placed it on top of the other and cut 2. So these 2 right now is 2 half circles, making it 1 full circle. I believe you understand. And this is 2 yards of crepe fabric I used. So like I said, the right fabric is polyester or silk, okay? But you can use chiffon, you can use silk, you can use crepe. They will still give you the pleats. So I'm going to bring only 1 piece, 1 half circle The way I folded it, I did not open it, okay? I will place it in between the paper like that. So make sure you spread those pleatings. You have to spread it so it accommodates the fabric. The fabric is not pleated yet, so that means it needs to be spread. So you make sure you spread and spread the way you see me spreading right now. So after spreading it, you can see I'm still arranging it to make sure it accommodates it. So remember the paper we had was unfold when we marked it. Remember the half circle, we folded it. So I also folded my fabric, one of the 1 yards, I folded it too. So it takes the same shape. So after spreading my fabric on that pattern, I placed the other piece on top of it. So as I place the other piece on top of it, I make sure it covers the fabric very well. So I keep extending it so it covers it. So next is to pin the open side. So you are going to pin the open side just to secure the fabric from falling off or changing its pattern. So I secure the edges of it, as you can see. So once I'm done securing, we will now start to fold the fabric together with the pattern. So this is how I went about it. So I started to fold them again, just like children hand fan. So I will keep folding it, and as I'm folding it, I'm folding both the fabric, and the fabric is taking the pleats of the paper. So I call this a paper mold anyway. So this paper mold will make your pleating very much easy. I'm still going to teach you how to go about the ironing type, but the ironing type really takes more time and is boring. Able to create a paper mold with the craft paper I talked about earlier. The craft paper will last longer, so it means you have this mold once and for all time. So now I'm using my clip just to hold it on, because when putting them together, because it has a large surface, it might not really clip together. So if you have much clips, if you make a little, you can clip, like that, like that, like that. So what we are trying to do is to bring this paper mold together with the fabric below it together. We'll bring it together, everything comes together, okay? That is the essence, that is how we can make this split. So like I said, this is a faster method for me. So if I already have my mold, I can make as many pleated skirt as possible. So I will advise, when you are making your mold, just take your time and get a good paper for it. So I'm using cardboard paper for tutorial purpose, okay? So this paper, after now, I'll throw it away. I might not use it because it's not going to last. So now I'm putting it together. That is the idea, is to put everything together. So I'm just making sure I put them together. So if I found out that they are not going together in sections, I will start afresh to make sure I have them clipped together in section. So if you have a clip, I think the clip will be better. So now I brought everything together. So I'm just showing you the process of how I went about it, okay? So you have an idea of what you are going to see when you are making these skirts. So I'll keep putting it together. I tried putting it together like that. So because I didn't have enough clip, so it was just not coming together the way I want. But now I think I have it the way I want right now. So I'm going to use my copper wire to bind them. So I was supposed to keep my copper wire beside to bind them. So now I'm going to put my copper wire below, and then I'm going to gather it together again. So I was supposed to put the copper wire below before I bind, okay? So make sure you pick everything. So at this point, whatever shape you give to this fabric, that is what is going to come out, because this paper and the fabric is going to be baked in an oven right now. So that is how to go about the pleating. So the pleating needs heat, okay? It needs heat. to make it pleat. So now I will keep tying all the parts right now. I'll tie them from top to bottom. So I'll tie with my copper wire. Then make sure they are together before you cut. So after tying that part, I went to the next section and made sure everything is together. So this is the main process of this tutorial. This part we are making right now, that is the transformation from the plain to the pleated fabric. So I'm also going to go up to do the same thing. So you can try this out with a border pleat first. Okay, you can try it with a border pleat. I think you can control it better with a border pleat. So like I said, if you want to make it bold, when sectioning the paper, that means you section it like 2.5 inches or 3 inches below. Then it will give you a border pleat on top too, and it will be easy. This part will be very much easier for you. So I just took my time to ensure that you see the process of this project, so that when working on your own, you'll be able to get it right. So I'm twisting my copper wire. So just a binder, okay? It might not be a copper wire, it can be anything to bind it. So I'm done binding it, and you can see how I binded it. So now this is it. You can use your iron to heat it, to steam it. You can use your oven. So I'm going to show you both the iron method, and I'll also show you the oven method. So for the iron method, it means you set your knob at maximum, and then you also place your steam. We have the steam part of it. You place it at minimum. So now you don't need to get this iron very close to this mold. You keep it just from a little distance while it steams. So if you look well, you will see some steam coming out of this iron. So this is one method you can bake this pleated skirt. But this method, to me, I think it will waste my time. Okay, but if you have patience, you can bake it for about 15 minutes. But I don't have that patience to do this. So that was why I used the oven method. So like I said, this tutorial is very, very detailed. So whatever method you want to use, you can use it. So I did this, I kept doing it, but I was not able to have the patience to do it up to 15 minutes. So I now switched over to my oven. So here I used my oven. So I have to set the Fahrenheit to 170 degrees. So if you have 180 degrees, that means you set it in between 180 and 160. So I have to set it. And you are going to put a bowl of water below. You can see me putting a bowl of water below my oven. Okay, so the grid on top, that is where we are going to place the mold. So you have to set it at 170 degrees Fahrenheit. Then you place your mold. So here I've placed my mold, as you can see, and there's a bowl of water below the mold. So I close my gas cooker, as you can see right there, and I'm going to bake this for 20 minutes. So after 15 minutes, I came back to check the mold. Okay, so that means you need to keep checking this mold. Don't just leave it and go. You have to keep checking and checking it. So I just came to check to see. So please don't overbake it, because if it's overbaked, it can burn the fabric. So just bake like 15 to 20 minutes. I think it will give the heat that will make this at 170 degrees Fahrenheit. So now I'm done baking. I actually baked at 20 minutes anyway. So I'm bringing it out from the oven, and I kept it outside to cool. So you have to make sure it's very, very cool before you open it. Don't open it when it's hot. So now it's time for us to open this mold, and you are going to see what we have right there. So I keep opening the copper wire, just loosening them, okay, so we'll be able to have the pleats that we desire. So this is really looking beautiful and easy. I think the oven type is easier, okay, so it's easier than the iron method. So you have to open it up the way I'm opening it now. La la, this is a beautiful pleated skirt. You can see I have a little bun there, okay, because I over baked. So you can bake at 15 minutes at 170 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius, I don't know, but 170. So you can see what we have. So right now, this is how the pleat is going to look like. So if you want to pattern your pleat, it depends on how you pattern your mold, which is the paper. So this is ready right now, and I'm going to show you the local method, which is the pleating of this skirt after you are done cutting the 180 degrees. So I use the other half circle which I cut to show you or demonstrate how you can do this locally using your iron. So this is the method many of us use, but this method actually takes a whole lot of time. So you keep pleating and pleating from the below. So make sure your pleating is even. So you pleat it from below and then you take it on top. So you can see how I'm pleating it, okay? So when I pleat a little, I use my steam iron. And I make sure I get this up to the upper radius, that is the waistline. So make sure you use your steam iron, because without a steam iron, unless you use steam on itself to spray on it, but that might be very difficult at the end of the day. So I will keep doing this right now. I'll keep ironing and steaming, as you can see. So you keep pleating. The down piece, because this is cut 180 degrees, the down will be bolder. The pleats on the down part will be bolder, while the pleats at the upper piece is smaller. But if I'm to say, I will advise you use the oven method, okay? So if you don't have an oven, you can steam with your iron like I demonstrated. This method is actually very crazy. So now I was not so patient. I went back to my oven to bake the second half circle. So here I'm opening the second half circle using the same mold. Like I said, this mold, if you have it, you can make as many as possible. So this is the second mold I just opened right now. You can see what I have here. So we are going to join the two circles together. So after pleating, you go over to the machine and join them together to form one 360 degrees, which is full circle. So here I'm done. So I'm going to cut out the lining using 180 degrees. But this time around, I'm going to use my waist plus 2 inches for zipper and divide by 3.14. So I got 12 inches for my lining. So the radius I'm using for my lining is 12 inches. So your lining, you can actually use any lining anyway, but if you have a soft lining, that would be better for this project. So I place the lining 180 degrees too, and I'm going to measure this time around 12 inches, 12 inches all around. That is my radius. So my skirt length was 25 inches. I used 25 inches. So my lining length, I'm using 22 inches. I made it shorter by 3 inches. So now I'm going to go ahead to cut everything. So I'm going to cut it out right now. So when making before you put your pleat on the oven, don't forget to hem the down piece of it. So I like to use a weaving. I like to weave it before I proceed to the baking. But because I don't have the exact color, I just left it. So later I'm going to weave it, but that is not the right thing to do. So now I'm joining the lining and the fabric, and I left 1 inch on the sides. So now we are going to put them right side to right side, fabric and lining. And then I'm going to measure the zipper length. So the zipper length from the waistline, I use 9 inches. So I'm going to mark 9 inches for the lining, and I'll mark 9 inches for the fabric as well. So once I'm done marking those points, I'm going to stitch at 1 inch for both of them. So after stitching, this is the zipper allowance right there. So when you turn the fabric to the front, we are going to attach our zipper. So I'm using an invisible zipper anyway, so I'll just go in and sew the invisible zipper. After sewing, this is what I got. So I'm going to turn it with my lining right now. So I'll turn the lining the other way around, and then I'm going to secure it with my pin as well. So we'll follow the stitches of the fabric to stitch the lining together. That is just to have a perfect inseam finishing. But at the end of the day, if you want to join the way you like to join, you can go ahead and join the way you like to join. But I like to use this perfect inseam method so as to have a clean finishing. So here I'm going to pin and pin all across. Then I'll go over to the machine and follow the stitches of the invisible zipper and stitch. So I'm done stitching right now. I'm going to turn my fabric to the right side. And this is what we got at the end of the day, a clean finishing inside. So the next we are going to do now, because that part is ready, is to take the measurement of the waistline so we can sew our band. So I will open it up and take the measurement on the waistline. So I will take my measurement of the waistline all around. So here I got 36 inches, which is the waist length. So this 36 inches, I just added 2 inches to my band, which is 38 inches, and the width of my band is 5 inches. So I folded in 0.5 inches. Okay, that is the part I'll use to top stitch. So I'm going to stitch half an inch and half an inch, and I'll be left with 1 inch for the skirt hook. So I'm going to turn it to the other side right now, and we'll begin to sew it to the skirt. So I'm going to bring my skirt, and we are going to sew the band to the skirt, right side to the wrong side of the skirt. So here I'm done stitching, and this is what I have. So I'm going to use the part that I folded half an inch to top stitch on it. So I will go ahead and top stitch on it, as you can see, and this is what we have, a clean finished skirt. So I believe you learned a lot from this tutorial. So if this video was helpful to you, I would like to have your comments on the comment section. And if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe and turn on your notification bell to receive more videos. Bye.